There's a lot of YouTube Catholics now who they're like their primary access to the faith is actually a virtual access. I don't think that's good. I think that I mean, I am super glad you can go get Scott Hahn's conversion talk on YouTube. I'm not against that. I'm just
Yeah,
saying if the primary place where you're engaging with the Catholic faith is virtual, that might be a problem.
I agree with that 100%. Where the rubber meets the road with me on that side is when people contact me and they want to involve me in their experience somehow. They want to say, "Hey, I have these questions. I'm going through this issue. Can we have a conversation? Can we talk about the things that I'm going through?" And I do that with people when I can. But what I always tell everybody is, look, I'm a guy that makes videos on YouTube and writes books and gives talks, but I'm not in your life. I'm not able to sit with you and know your story in the way that like your local priest can, or a local person who can get to know you, because our interactions are going to be pretty contained
Yeah.
if we do it this way. And especially if you're just watching videos that I'm editing and producing, it's much better to have real life interactions with people who know you and can walk with you through the faith in your everyday life. But when we just rely on our internet resources, we miss something there with that.
Yeah, and then I think you can get unbalanced. Like you can start going down the rabbit hole of. I actually think that this happens with a lot of young people. Well, maybe people of all age. I don't know, but they start following the internet thread, and then you run into the person who's got the conspiratorial mindset, and then the person who's angry, or the person who tells you the church since the Second Vatican Council has been falling into error, and now you're in trouble. Now you're in big trouble.
Well, yeah, because anybody can make videos.
Yeah.
Anybody can get on YouTube and say whatever they want to say. And there's really no accountability for that. There's really no relationships at stake when we do that. And I think it has its place. Obviously, that's what I love to do. But we can't substitute that for real life discipleship.
Yeah.
That's something that's going to take place at its core when we are in each other's lives and we know each other and we see the good and the bad. We can share things, because like when I make a video, I will never talk about things that where I feel inadequate about, because if I'm going to make a video, I'm going to go learn about it. But there's something to be said if someone comes up to me and says, "Hey Keith, I've got a question about this. What do you think about this?" And if I could say, I don't really know. Let's explore that together. Let's learn from one another. Or they might say, and this happened to me recently, which I thought was really cool. We had some folks that were here with us to do some ministry in person, and they spent a few days with my wife and I. And towards the end of our time together, it was a husband and wife. The wife pulled my wife aside and said, "Hey, can I just talk to you about marriage? Because I've been watching your marriage and I've been seeing things the way that you guys interact with each other. And I would love just to talk with you about that." That's not the kind of thing you're going to get just from,
Right.
here's a video.
Right. Yep. That's right. Yeah. So you go out and you pray the rosary with people, like you're a rosary crusader. And so just tell me about that experience. What's it like to pull into a town and I don't know. It seems like what you do is you just drive up to a parish and people show up and pray the rosary. I don't know if I'm getting that right, but that seems like what you do.
It's pretty close. So the way it began was we started this online live stream prayer community in 2020, right as the pandemic began. And it started off as every day we would pray the rosary together virtually, and people started showing up. Well, as the pandemic dragged on, we had this sense that we felt isolated from other humans. We knew that other people did as well, because a lot of people that were drawn to our community were shut-ins. They were people who were lonely or whatever. I mean, we have the full gamut of people. And we had this idea, wouldn't it be cool if we could travel around and go and meet these people in person, because we started to form this community. So my wife and I decided to sell our we ran a photography business for a while, and we sold our studio that we had, and we bought this Sprinter van Winnebago RV. And then what we would do would be, when we would travel for speaking events or conferences or whatever, instead of flying, we would drive the van, and then we would stop along the way. We'd tell people, hey, we're going to be in Kansas City, or we're going to be in Los Angeles. And then we would just announce where we were going. People would email us and say, hey, here's where I live. Can you come by? And then we would just tell those people, okay, your job is to find us a place to pray and invite your friends. And then they would do that. They'd line up a spot for us to go. Sometimes it'd be a parish. Sometimes it would be a park. Sometimes it would be a business. And we would just roll into the town really on our own. We didn't charge money. We didn't have a big contract or anything like that. It's not like a paid speaking event. We just roll through, and then people would show up to pray the rosary. Now we started that in 2021. I think we've done 7 or 8 cross-country trips that way since then. And it's been amazing. We've loved every second of it. So sometimes we get to go to places that can't afford to hire a Catholic speaker to come into town. Some of my favorite places to be, Cy, have been in small churches of 50 people and places that don't have big budgets and things like that. And the people are so thankful and grateful. And sometimes people, when they hear we're coming, people will drive for hours to come, and then we live stream from those places. And we really get to experience this community that has become so strong over the last 5 years. And in April of next year, we're celebrating our 5-year anniversary of the Rosary Crew, as we call it. And we're renting a retreat center near Chicago. And then we're saying, hey, we're having a celebration anniversary party, and people are flying in, and we're renting out this retreat center. We're having our own little mini,
man.
I don't want to really necessarily call it a conference, but it's kind of like a mini reunion.
Yeah. When's that going to be?
April 10th and 11th.
Oh, very cool.
Of 2025. So that'll be our 5-year anniversary of doing the Rosary. We've done it every single day since March 18th of 2020.